Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. At the dawn of the Flux, everything changed. Flux. This is the 2017 Dinosaur post-apocalyptic action horror sci-fi thriller novel from author Chris McInally. Welcome to day 2 of Author Appreciation Week, this time for Chris McInally. The plot. So a group of people have to go out to get medicine for the sick, and everything that they need is out in the post-apocalyptic world known as Earth. Well, after the Flux, everything changed. Like I said. But at the same time, a lot of shit has happened. Dinosaurs have come back, and along with people who have just turned into savages, it won't be a picnic going out there. Who will survive? And will any of them even make it back? So it's Mad Max action meets King Kong style adventure. I dig it. The story, it isn't anything too deep or thought-provoking, nor is it uplifting or powerful. There's no deeper meaning. It's basically, this is the way things are now, and here's how we have to survive. Deal with it. I do have to say that I like how the characters can name the dinosaurs just by looking at them in a believable way. It's obvious that some time has passed after the Flux, so knowing what you're up against does help. McInally establishes that these are just young adults going after a near impossible task. Not too long ago they led very simple lives. They even mentioned their high school days. One of them even asks, "Why didn't you ever ask me out?" It's kind of like, how old are these people? Apparently not that old. Khan is the bald, young, strong male character who is trying to get medicine for his sickly brother, and that's his whole motivation right there. That's the reason for him doing this mission, which is believable. It's not like, oh, well, I gotta go out there to protect the ladies of the group. No, it's not like that. And even if it was, who cares? Macho, man. But Khan, he's a likable guy. He stands up for himself and others that deserve to be stood up for. Then there's Lex, which I asked McInally a while ago if her name was inspired by Lex from Jurassic Park. He's like, I didn't even think of that, to be honest. But yeah, Lex is the female heroine of the group. She does a lot of badass stuff against the dinosaurs, especially in the hospital scene, which I'll get into in a little bit. Brett is a narcissistic wannabe leader. He wants to do everything right. He doesn't do anything wrong because, you know, it's everyone else's fault why he looks like a fool in front of everyone. And he gets injured a lot in this book. By the end, he's in tatters. His clothes are all ruined, and he's all bloodied up, caked in gore, and it's like, you kind of deserve it. Although, between the three, there are some moments where you're like, okay, that was kind of charming. But he used to date Lex, and then they broke up, but he still thinks they're dating, so it's like one of those kind of things. One of those relationships. Domineering is the word I would use. Then there's Ambi. Now, you wonder, Ambi, it's like a pet's name. Well, you'd be right. Khan finds a baby Eutheraptor just as it hatches. So, in that, he's like, hey, it doesn't want to hurt me because it thinks I'm its mother, or parent. So he adopts the baby Eutheraptor after killing its parents. They're the main players of the story. There are some other characters. We also get Riley, Benny, and Audrey, who make up the other half of the expedition team. In typical McInally fashion, a huge chunk of the characters are killed off relatively early, and you're left with a small group of survivors who have to fend off creatures and to finish their mission. So, much like Apex, who you think are gonna be able to be supporting characters are killed off. And when they die, it's brutal, shocking, and visceral. Very graphic in terms of execution and the writing. In one scene, there's a person getting torn apart by dire wolves, and it's just nasty. Also, the leader of the home base, Williams, does leave a little bit of an impression on the reader. He's only in the opening scene, but he makes for a good character given his tough yet caring demeanor. There's also bandits, savages, dubbed Reavers. The Reavers are sickly, post-apocalyptic scavengers who corner our gang of heroes, one of which is skilled in martial arts, and has a swift and brutal fight with Brett, who, as I said before, was already torn and injured and beaten by this point, so it's like, this guy just can't catch a break. It kind of reminds me of, what's his name, Eric from Evil Dead 2013. He just keeps on trucking along no matter how much he gets beaten up. Although it does end the fight amusingly. There are a slew of dinosaurs in this book. Here, I have a list of them right here. We have the pteranodons, seen flying around in the opening scene. Dire wolves, like I mentioned before, who are an ever-present threat. They're always stalking our heroes. There's also a thunderbird, which is a Komodo-like lizard that has a car chase scene that reminded me of Curse of the Komodo. And that's not a bad thing. Which was inspired by Jurassic Park, but that was just with the T-Rex. The Komodo aspect kind of reminded me more of Curse of the Komodo. There's a Parasaurolophus in the Stampede scene, which is actually a highlight of the story. You think something really bad's going to happen to our characters, and then Stampede comes by, and yeah, something's chasing them. And then there's a Thylacoleo, a Carnifex type of creature. It's basically a marsupial lion. Really small, really dangerous. They fight our characters in this hospital scene, which is just an amazing scene. You have each character splitting up, which is a dumb idea to begin with, but it's a huge place, they need to find the resources and fast. It's understandable why they would do it, but it's still stupid. Anyways, not only are the Carnifex, the marsupial lions, in that scene fighting off a couple of our characters, but there's these savages, like pre-man, like caveman dweller creatures who live in the hospital. It's really gross. One of our characters just ends up destroying the males, and then a female one comes out, not like it's gonna mate with him or anything, but it takes him hostage. You're not really sure, but she does stab him quite a bit. And and Kong gets off scot-free. He finds he doesn't get unscathed. He does fight off the Eutheraptors, but then he finds Zambi, and it's like, well, the ends justify the means, I guess. I didn't get really hurt, but I did find a baby Eutheraptor to take care of. Oh, it's such a burden. He acts like it's kind of a burden, which, after what Lex and Brett had to go through, it's like, shut up. Then there's a Gigantosaurus, which is just a hulking dinosaur, a man-eater, a predator. And a Megalania, they have a pretty epic fight near the end of the book. There are some minor and one kind of major problem I have with this book, and it is a nitpicky thing though. A nitpicky thing is that I caught 4 or 5, maybe a little bit more spelling errors. Like there needed to be a was instead of a were, or a sake instead of a sail. Some people complain about too much cursing in this book, but I have read books with way more cursing. Big one, the problem I have, is that the characters consistently make dumb decisions. Like I said, they split up when they didn't need to. However, that does lead to personal encounters between man and beast, so I mean, it kind of works. But there's other decisions they make, like a character will go off to go to the bathroom, and then that person will be torn apart by dire wolves, and then the person on guard duty ended up falling asleep. Like, dude, you were driving all the way down. How are you tired? I mean, I guess you could be tired, but you'd be more alert if you were just sitting in a car and parked somewhere for the night. The gore! This is one gruesome book. Dire wolves tear a person apart, like I said, pulling her head off, spinal column still attached and all. There's bloody battles between beasts, and our big gun heroes are over the top with visceral carnage. Bullets shred baddies and prehistoric life apart. It's all-out chaos on the road to find medicine. For the potential film score, who would I suggest to compose a score for this book if it was made into a movie? This might be an odd choice, but I think Tyler Bates, who composed Slither, 300, the John Wick trilogy so far, would be able to infuse his intense techno and rock themes with the action if the book were to be turned into a movie. A Steadicam would have to be locked onto the characters while the action ensues, and while Bates' energetic score would play, a brutal fight scene would commence and have to be executed flawlessly, like John Wick. Songs like Shots Fired from the first John Wick album come to mind. But I could also see some of Slither's elements, like the bombastic instruments, like horns and stuff, when the dinosaurs are chasing our characters. Overall, this book left a ton of room for a series. I feel like McInally kind of condensed a 300-page story into 150 and still made it work. The Flux is explained in the opening chapter, and it's never used in the plot again. I feel that's for the best. We shouldn't be focusing on the whys nor how to stop it. We should be focusing on the characters trying to survive and carry out a mission. It's one story that could be a catalyst for a full-on Flux franchise. I'd say check this one out. It's one of my more personal favorites of McInally's work. Overall, I give Flux a 3.5 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I am Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon, where even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Plus, you get access to body counts and other music videos that you cannot get on YouTube because of copyright and age restriction and monetary support. If you want to support the channel through PayPal, it's horrorshow37@gmail.com. I'd greatly appreciate that too. But if you don't want to support me with any money, just hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video, and as always, subscribe.